Stefano escapes and Mr. Poe takes them to their new guardian. And this is a major problem people have with this movie. They say they try to cram 3 books into one movie and it just feels rushed. Well, remember, the first 3 books put together were about maybe this big. Take away all the filler, probably about this. So they were about as long as one of the earlier Harry Potter books. Boy, I'm bringing up Harry Potter a lot in this review, aren't I? Well, here's one more thing. This movie won an Academy Award for Best Makeup. Harry Potter lost that award to Meryl Streep, just as another elderly woman. And speaking of Meryl Streep, she plays their next guardian, Aunt Josephine. Her shtick is that she's afraid of everything.
What's that? Not that quickly. You could trip over the welcome mat and decapitate yourselves.
I never turn on the radiator. I'm frightened that it might explode.
Oh, well, I'm always afraid that the doorknobs will shatter into a million tiny pieces and one of them will hit my eye. I'm afraid that the stove will burst into flames. Come away from the fridge. If it falls, it'll crush you flat.
Careful! You're gonna wear out my dingy sound effect. But we also learn that she loves grammar. Her husband was eaten by leeches, and before his death, she used to basically be a daredevil.
All the things you did, Aunt Josephine.
You tame lions? Oh, I was quite adventurous. Uncle Monty? You knew Uncle Monty? No, that's not a good picture of me.
Wait, is that our parents?
Was this some sort of club? Why do you all have these spyglasses?
Fuck that shit, I want to see Meryl Streep taming lions. The 4 go shopping and, as you would guess, bump into Count Olaf, who of course is just great.
Captain Shab. At your service. Where's he at?
Behind Captain Shab.
I'll show him a thing or two. I'll give him the old wax on, wax off, me son.
Please, the children are going to make a lovely dinner of puttanesca.
The very meal I ate before they took my leg.
Josephine leaves and the 3 stay to finish shopping.
You haven't paid for that.
Kids today.
I was supposed to be played by Helena Bonham Carter when Tim Burton was set to direct this movie. The 3 make it back just as a hurricane starts and find a suicide note, but Klaus notices that there are too many grammatical mistakes. He fixes them and finds out that she left them a message saying Curdled Cave. They also say that in Ike's room are pictures of fires and the house begins to fall apart. And guess what else gets in the way of them leaving? After the hurricane passes, they realize they are still alive by sheer luck. Violet comes up with a plan to break the beams, connecting them, and making sure to pick up the obvious Sunny doll, they jump to safety.
Ever read any books on sailing?
Violet, do you have to ask? The 3 make it to Curdled Cave, find Aunt Josephine, and convince her to come back and testify against Olaf. But on their way back, they find that Josephine has eaten a banana, and this attracts the leeches. At first, all hope seems lost, but then they see a boat.
But as unpleasant as lachrymose leeches could be, there was something far more unpleasant arriving out of the fog.
Hello, hello, hello. I missed you guys. Looks like you could use a little assistance.
Josephine tries to bargain for her life, but Olaf leaves her to die. So what, that's 4 people dead? Again, balls. Olaf wins back custody of the kids, but finds that he won't inherit their fortune unless he is a blood relative or married to one of them.
Mr. Poe, have I told you about our new play?
Yeah, so Olaf's plan is to marry Violet to inherit their fortune. Ew. And just to make sure she goes through with it, he has trapped Sunny in a cage and will drop her if she doesn't do it. So Violet decides there's no other way than to marry him. But Klaus won't give up that easily. And before I go on, let's listen to some of the score for a few seconds. Not one of the best scores ever made, but it's creepy nonetheless. Klaus invents a grappling hook. Yeah, I know inventing is Violet's thing, but this adds some character development in my opinion, and makes it up to the tower. He finds a giant magnifying glass in the shape of an eye, but before he can save Sonny, he is attacked by one of Olaf's henchmen. Thankfully, he is able to outsmart them.
And so concludes our play.
No! Wait! It wasn't a play! Count Olaf was gonna kill Sonny if I didn't go through with the marriage.
No, that part is true, actually. Violet and I are indeed a blissfully wedded couple, because you see, we were married. The certificate says that I have the fortune now. Come on. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Klaus toys with the eyeglass, and then some sunlight during the middle of the night, okay, amplifies and burns the marriage certificate, and Olaf is arrested and sentenced to every hardship the Baudelaires faced. In my opinion, this is a much better climax than what was in the book. The first book ending would have just been a huge anticlimax to this movie. Although they do reference it at one point, so... Unfortunately, Olaf escapes, and before the Baudelaires head for their new guardian, they go back to their home one last time and find a letter from their parents that had gotten lost in the mail, as well as a spyglass. Yeah, it's schmaltzy, but I like it. We get one last narration by Lemony Snicket as the Baudelaires head for the miserable mill. So unlike some other films that want to be a franchise, this film is pretty self-contained. I love this film. Some people say that putting 3 books into one movie was a bad idea, but since the first 3 books were so short and had quite a bit of filler, this really doesn't bother me. It looks beautiful, it has some great effects, it has several references for fans of the books, the actors all work perfectly, and each one gets at least one moment to shine. Although I will say that Jim Carrey as Count Olaf completely stole the show. He was absolutely hilarious and slightly menacing when he needed to be, and he also ad-libbed quite a bit of his lines. He basically took a good film and launched it into greatness with his performance. Sound familiar? As for the actors who played the main 3, Emily Browning of course showed up in the very underrated The Uninvited, as well as films like Sleeping Beauty and Sucker Punch, both of which I haven't seen. But it's good to know that she's still working. Liam Aiken guest starred in a few episodes of Law and Order after this, and a few other movies I have never heard of. He'll next be starring in a movie called How to Be a Man, but I don't know when that comes out. Kara and Shelby Hoffman never acted after this, and the only thing I found online about them now is their Twitter account. Hey, it's not creepy of me to look up 9-year-olds' Twitter accounts. Rent the DVD, or just buy it. It's worth the $3 you can probably get it for on Amazon. And the deleted scenes have more Olaf awesomeness, plus it has a commentary by Lemony Snicket himself. It's too late for a sequel, but it's not too late for this to become a cult classic. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.